There's been some development on Factorio, which is cool, about the expansion, Factorio Space Age. It looks very similar to space exploration. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, space exploration, but we'll talk about that later on. So here we go. Hello, long time no see. Today we are going to talk about the expansion, which is called Factorio Space Age. What is Factorio Space Age? This is by Coverex, which I think is the owner of the studio or something, or he's like the game designer. Like I don't know. I can't remember. I don't really delve into this. I just, yeah, I love the game. Factorio Space Age continues the player's journey after launching rockets into space. Discover new worlds with unique challenges, exploit their novel resources for advanced technological gains, and manage your fleet of interplanetary space platforms. Vanilla Factorio ends by launching the rocket into space, so I always expected it to be quite obvious what we were going to do next. Honestly, the space platform related gameplay was actually planned a very long time ago, and we had shown a little bit in FFF 74, which is right here. So this is endgame brainstorming, space ship in orbit, running the simulation. So this is it right here. You've got roboports, movement, defense, different things here about basically the end game, which is what this is, the expansion. So we had a similar kind of story with the Spidertron. Its concept was teased with for the first time in FFF 120, which is so yeah, it's right here. Interesting. And just to be quietly abandoned and then revived 4 years later. But as you might or might not know, the name Woob is an abbreviation of this that I can't pronounce, which means something like everything will be done eventually. We didn't abandon the plan, we just realized it was way too ambitious to try and fit it in the 1.0, the Factorio release. So it was eventually just postponed to the expansion. In retrospect, it was clearly a good idea. The main structure, instead of sending one rocket to space, you have to send many because you need to use them to transport materials to build big space platforms in orbit. The rocket is cheaper in Space Age to not make it drag forever, but you still are expected. Oh. Is cheaper in Space Age, so it's cheaper than the vanilla game. Interesting. I think that's what that means. Not drag forever, but you still are expected to build bigger in preparation of what is to come. The Space Age platforms are used on their own to generate space science, but mainly they are eventually used to travel to different planets and for automated interplanetary logistics. We decided to go with the approach of having a small number of predefined planets which represent your progression through the game. The expansion contains 4 additional planets. Interesting. Each of which has its own unique theme, resource challenges, and gameplay mechanics. Most of them also have different military targets. Interesting. Sorry, 1 second, the dog. There we go. Every planet leads to production on specific science packs and its technologies. The order in which you exploit the planets is an impactful strategic choice. So you got the rewards. So this is your science. Oh, so this doesn't need space science anymore here, or it might. I can't tell, but it's showing that each planet has its unique science, and then the last planet needs all of those science packs. The rewards. Since we have a lot of new challenges, we also have to balance a set of rewards you get for each stage of the game. We also have a set of cool new things in the expansion, but the player is quite omnipotent. Sorry, my English is not that great. At the end of the vanilla playthrough, so we had to make some tough decisions. Since the goal was to make the overall expansion experience as good as possible, we have rebalanced the tech tree. This means that with Space Age enabled, some items that are available in vanilla are unlocked later on some planet. This specifically applies to artillery, cliff explosives. That's kind of fucked. This is the massacre's part of me speaking. Spidertron, best tier of modules, and some personal equipment upgrades. Based on testing, these changes have made the choice of where and when to move more, to go even more meaningful. Okay, that's cool. On the other hand, space will be available sooner, and there will be some nice additions available directly on Navis, the vanilla planet. This implies that technically you could just take your vanilla base, activate the expansion, and continue playing, but the best way to experience it will be to play with Space Age from start to finish. Version 2.0 is just not about the expansion. Ooh, okay, interesting. In the previous news about the expansion, 376, which is this, didn't they... This is interesting. Yeah, this is the old stuff that they were talking about. We declared that the content will be technically a mod taking advantage of the updated engine. Okay. What this means is that a lot of the improvements will be for all players regardless of them having the expansion or not. Interesting. Examples of this will be in the 2.0 update. That will be in the 2.0 update are the ability to control trade systems better. Interesting. Better blueprint building. Fuck yeah. Better flying, robot behavior, and many more. It will be covered in more details in future FFFs. Friday facts. Factorio Friday facts. Okay. I feel like they're also starting more of these as well. So the good news and the bad news. Let's start with the probably bad news. Since we know where we are and what the goal is, we can start to approximate the date of releasing the expansion, which is planned to be 1 year from now. It is still a long time, but at least it's getting more specific. So I remember it was supposed to come out this year because I said it was going to take a year, but then it's been pushed back again, which is fair enough. I mean, I love what we've done already. And they listen to their players, so it's nice. Current state. In the previous post 367, we declared a 7-step plan where we were at step 4. Now we are at the end of step 5, which is first pass of tweaking. So this is where they're going to start tweaking everything. Cool. And have started some things from step 6 already. Oh, so they're getting close to beta testing. That's cool. It has been playable from the start to finish for more than a year. This means that we have already made several improvement iterations based on the playthroughs behind those. We are doing 3 types of testing, which were all very useful. Just playing the game on our own and contemplating how it feels. Office LAN party, which is also a great way to test multiplayer. Individual testers, we had a few outside testers who played it from start to finish and gave us detailed feedback. The feedback led us to make different kinds of changes. For example, 2 planets were way too repetitive and similar to Novice, and we had to do a complete overhaul to make them more different. The game was a bit slow and grindy, so we were speeding things up, which doesn't mean dumbing it down. The goal was to be able to finish it in non-speedrun mode in less than 8 hours for an experienced player. We were trying to make the mechanics and just cut down on the recipe counts and costs. We improved many UIs related to the new and sometimes old parts of the game many times. It was kind of annoying to redo so much, but based on the resultant reactions, it was definitely worth it. This means that we have something that we are happy with, is pretty stable, and don't expect any further brutal changes to come. We have relatively stable list of tasks to be finished, both for programmers and artists, which makes us confident that we can release a polished product in about a year. The good news. But then there is hopefully good news. From now on, we are stopping the embargo on the expansion content, and we will be publishing Friday facts every week about all the different aspects of the expansion until release. So I love this. This more like, hopefully we get one next week, but if not, then that's fine. But I'm not going to make any more videos on this because I'm just excited about this, like that we got this to begin with. We will mostly show that we are what we have done or what we were working on. We are also looking forward to the We're also looking forward to the feedback from the community, which has proved useful so many times already. With the quantity of things we have, I'm confident that we won't run out of topics until a release. There's a mod for that. So this is the mod creator for space exploration. And I think he's working on this as well. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. A lot of people are going to make comparisons between the Space Age expansion and space exploration, which, if you don't know, it's a Factorio mod. It completely redefines like how you do shit. Basically, it's a really cool mod. Let's go back. I've worked on the game design for both. On Space Age, I made the Fair Space plus Planets prototype builds, and plus I've been involved in most of the gameplay decisions since. On Space Exploration, well, it's my mod. I made it. I think that makes me the most qualified to talk about how these two things are very different from the ground up. Sure, there's some overlap in the broader topics. You go to space, you visit planets. But these similarities end up being fairly superficial when all of the decisions along the way were made with different design goals. Target audience. Space exploration is targeted at a small set of challenge seekers. It's not for everyone by design. Space Age is targeted at all Factorio players with better approachability in mind. Game length. Space exploration is a long-form adventure designed for players to gradually uncover many interconnected challenges over 100 to 500 hours or more. Space Age challenges are more streamlined and self-contained for a faster pace of 600 to 100 hours, rough estimate. Complexity. Space exploration challenges ramp up to a very high difficulty towards the end. Some of the last challenges cannot be automated without a set of arithmetic combinators, so it is not expected that all players will be able to complete it. Space Age has a lot of different challenges, but they never get too extreme, and the usage of combinators is quite lightweight, so we expect that most players will be able to complete it. Engine support. This is interesting. I don't know what this means. I think, is this talking about like the engine on the spaceships or the game engine? There are so many things that space exploration just can't do because it's a mod. Space Age has very different capabilities because the game engine can be made to support it. Large parts of the expansion are focused on game mechanics that just aren't possible otherwise. So the gameplay will be unique and refreshing even if you're a space exploration veteran. There are many more differences that will come apparent when we look at individual features on the expansion in upcoming FFFs. As always, let us know what you think at the usual places. We look forward to seeing. Nice. We look forward to seeing you all in the weeks to come. Pog!